Welcome to Real Herbalism Radio from River Road Studios in Eugene, Oregon. Today's show is brought to you by the Herbal Nerd Society.
The Herbal Nerd Society is a collection of really awesome, cool people.
Really? You always say that.
I always say
you say
that. Awesome and cool.
It's so funny. You say that every time.
Because they are. They're really cool people.
Yes,
I love the Herbal Nerd Society.
I appreciate them because they keep us on our toes and they make me a better web person. I get that all the time. So
they make me smile.
You know, and they help us. They support this, which in turn supports us to do this. So it's a nice, nice give and take.
It's our little exclusive club that we have that is $4.99 a month. And you get exclusive articles. People have said several times, well, I tried to read your article, but it said I had to be a member. Like that one did. Yeah. So you might want to become a member, sweetheart, because clearly you know what you're missing here, don't you?
Yeah.
So, but that helps us pay our bills, and it's a really cheap way to get an herbal education. I can tell you that. You ain't going to get that somewhere else.
Too right.
Yep.
Too right.
So. All right. And Hunter Creation, graphic design and website designers, putting your marketing ideas to life, whether that's business cards or brochures or a rockin' new website. They can help you out. Contact them at huntercreation.com. Get Healthy Now with Candace.
Get Healthy Now with Candace is my clinical herbal practice. I work with folks near and far. I can do distance consults using Zoom meetings. Zoom meetings. And if you're looking for help and inspiration and would like to get healthy, give me a call.
Right on.
All right. Occupy Medical.
Occupy Medical is an integrated health free clinic right here in Lane County, Oregon. We are a 501c3. And we are located at 1717 Centennial Suites 4 and 7. And you can donate to us any time because we are we'll give you a tax receipt, and check us out at occupy-medical.org.
Ace High Heat Graphics, custom imprinted t-shirts or hats, any kind of apparel. You want to put your logo or message on something for your group or organization, they can help you out. Contact them at acehighheatgraphics.com. And Sierra Lupe Herbal Consulting is my own little herbal thing. And I also do distance and in-town consulting. And my specialty is on chronic illnesses. And I work with medication. And it's just kind of fun to do. So that's what I do. There you have it. So how do you get a hold of me? You go Sierra Lupe, herbalconsulting@gmail.com. All right. Don't forget that we're on the social networks. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram.
Yes,
we at the hashtag The Back to Herbalist. Plus, we already have an Instagram page as well. I believe we are on the Twitter.
We are
on the Twitter.
We are the Twitterist.
We are on Twitter as well. So if you want to reach out to us, we are there, and we will join in conversations. I know, Sue, you're really active on Facebook. If you like the podcast and have been a long-time listener or a first-time listener and really like it, nothing helps us out better than a review.
Yes, please send us a review.
We would love to hear more. All right, with all that, it's time for the show. So the show is 175 Herb Lab. It was talking about Jamie Scepkowski, our border herbalist, if you will. And we're going to discuss a whole bunch of herbs that help with protecting your borders. And later on in the show, we're going to discuss apple cider vinegar. So now, without further ado, now here are your hosts, Candace Hunter and Sue Sierra Lupe.
I'm Candace Hunter.
And I'm Sue Sierra Lupe.
And welcome to Real Herbalism Radio.
Here we go.
Here we go.
We're so good at starting things. I want to remind people what we're doing here is our Herb Lab. Jamie, she's a great guest.
She was absolutely delightful. I had no idea what was coming with that interview. That was the strangest interview for me.
Really?
Yeah, well,
because you sent us this press release and we're like, okay, I know that this is an issue and I know that it's
about
in the
the
news.
border.
About the border. And
there's
this is very political and this is not us.
Right. There's this press release about people being tear gassed at the border because they were refugees and wanted to cross, and it was absolutely heinous. And I'm like, okay, Sue, what's this? And you're like, oh, and this herbalist I know, Jamie, was there. I'm like, okay.
I did not see it that way.
That was all you gave me.
Yeah, there was not a lot to go on. In fact, when we said, no, we're not going to do that, you were like,
no, we've got to do
no,
it.
we've got to, because she's an herbalist and she was there. And I'm like, oh, well, you didn't tell us that she was an herbalist.
Yeah, it was funny. But she turned out to be absolutely wonderful. And I'm so glad that we did get a chance to talk to her. So I'm not complaining. It was like walking in absolutely cold for an interview with no idea even where she was from. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that she was, lived in Jersey and then showed up in California. I have no clue.
Well, it worked out anyway. I remember talking about her a lot.
No, you said small things about her, but nothing that would have inferred that this was her.
You put it together,
and there was no connection. And you do that a lot to us. I think you have an inner dialogue.
Yeah,
you think you tell us things, and then they did.
They just disappear.
And I do know a lot of Jamies. I have a cousin named Jamie too.
Oh,
a lot of Jamies in my life.
Well, this is another great Jamie.
She is.
And being on the border and doing Herbal for State on the border on the Mexican side, it sounds like quite the adventure. I mean, she was nervous, but ready to go back.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Well, I think that listening to her about her stumbling into herbalism and then just the way she learned it made it easier for her to say, well, we're just going to go. We're just going to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where someone that might be more established might say, well, there's too much risk. It's not enough rules. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So
it's
that
scary.
might have been,
there's no
scary.
Doors.
And it comes back down. And it made me think about our previous show about licensure and then the Herb Lab about licensure and what it meant. It's like, this is another situation where, self-taught herbalist for years. And then she put it into a somewhat practice in trauma down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was, but she wasn't, licensed to do it, but she did it. And she went and she made a difference in people's lives.
And she's going through official EMT training.
Oh, she's doing that now?
Yeah.
Yep.
So she's got her pieces together, and I know she's...
Oh, no, she's part of the system.
We all are. We're all little cogs in that system.
I liked hearing some of the herbs that she was working with. I want to learn a little bit more about pedicularis. It's an herb that I've heard come up a few times. I don't personally have connection with it yet, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, we use it in our clinic. We have a different species than she uses.
Yeah.
We have elephant's head and parrot's beak. Those are pedicularis that's around here. And I have seen it blooming before, but I have never ever harvested it myself.
Right.
The stuff that we have, it's because Howie's school, the Columbine School of Botanical Studies, he takes the students out, and that's one of the ones that they have harvested. And then people have this mason jar.
Right.
There's I don't know what to do with this. So he's been persuading people, well, if you don't know what to do with your remaining tincture, then donate it to Occupy Medical.
Yeah, I've got like a little 1/2 ounce bottle that you gave me actually a couple of years ago that was elephant's head.
Yep.
And it wasn't even labeled pedicularis. It took me a long time to put the two together.
It's like,
Yeah. So it's one that I'm interested in learning more about.
Yeah. Well, we use it for people that are really anxious, for people that feel very oppressed and they're having a hard time kind of getting their spine straight again and walking with confidence and pride.
Yeah.
Which sounds kind of vague, but it's...
When you're dealing with anxiety, though, honestly, that is that people who have anxiety, they will recognize that.
Yeah.
I mean, we are a tribe of people, and we understand these vague things because they aren't actually vague. They're very, very clear and descriptive about the experience, because anxiety comes with so many, it's like a rainbow of experiences. And each approach into or each facet of anxiety that people deal with, it's all different.
Yeah.
So recognizing which type of anxiety and which herbs are for which ones is really, really key.
And it's another one of those herbs that very, really careful about for harvesting, because it's not necessarily one that, at least I personally know of, is grown on a farm. It's a wild crafted herb in general. So that always gives me pause.
Yeah, it's that one, like OSHA, she talked about working with that one too. And that's another one that I personally haven't used much, in part because I don't wildcraft it myself. I don't tend to go out and do a lot of wildcrafting, especially if I did, I would, ones like OSHA, I have been told that it's an endangered species or an at-risk species. So it's one that I'm unlikely, I might make a relationship with it, but I'm unlikely to harvest it for any use, or if I did, it'll be just like a 1 little ounce worth of tincture bottle to make for very special specifics.
Like you have a really horrible cough and you really need to clear that stuff out of your lungs.
Right.
Yeah, it is one of those herbs that I do not like the smell of at all. I don't like the smell. I don't like the taste. It's like, seems to me like a combination of onions and dog poop.
Ew, that's nasty.
It is nasty. But some people think, oh, I just love the smell and I could roll in it. And I guess I'm not a bear, because bears will dig it up and they'll roll around in it. So
well, I mean,
I'm not a bear.
The medicine usually that's right for you usually somehow will taste good or right to you. I mean, it might not be a pleasant taste, but it'll be a taste that you know it's right, you know.
But that you were talking about the harvesting and being proper.
Yeah, it's OSHA's one that I haven't used much because, again, I know it's not a abundant herb and it's not farmed yet.
Yep. And there's lots of other substitutions.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
You know, if you want to dry up those sinuses, then horseradish.
Oh yeah, right.
You know, that'll
horseradish followed by a good black tea chaser.
There you go. Yeah. If you got crud in your lungs, then, and depending on the situation, but there's a lot of other things that will clear crud out of your lungs, including lobelia.
Yeah. Lobelia is a really good one for that.
And you don't have to use very much. Tiny bit.
No.
It's really fabulous for that. Then, of course, we have elecampane for coughs in general, both upper respiratory infections and lower respiratory infections, as far as I'm concerned.
And I've used it. Yeah. I've used all of those. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we have lots and lots of options.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to get something that is in a delicate place.
Right. Well, the one that I thought was kind of fun that she brought up was Jamaican dogwood.
Oh, yes.
I learned about that one for the first time in the 2 years ago now in the American Herbalist Guild conference.
Oh,
there
really?
was one of the herbalists there was talking about formulas, and that was one of the ones that was in several of her formulas. And I thought, well, gosh, let me try that, you know, and I added that to my the formula that I use for pain, which is really simple: meadowsweet, willow bark, and now Jamaican dogwood and cramp bark.
Oh,
and I've found that those have been really particularly tasty and effective for menstrual cramps, which you know normally you don't think of any of those as being tasty, right? But for me, when I found with the menstrual cramp issue, that's been helpful. So it's been fun.
That's quite a combination of pungent herbs.
Yes. Lovely.
Well, I really appreciate Jamaican dogwood's analgesic properties. However, it's very difficult to get a hold of. So it's not a weed that grows around here in the area that I live in. It's something that always has to be imported. So far, maybe there's a farm out there that's growing it, but I'm leery about it because I don't want to get stuck without it, you know?
Right. Oh, I've been into it's one of the ones that I've ordered it from Mountain Rose Herbs. And, you know, I'm not pushing any specific company. They just happen to be one that I know is really adamant about not over harvesting and about choosing quality and choosing carefully. So responsible. Yeah, they're expensive, but when it comes to ones like that, I'm like, well, you know, I'm not growing it myself. I'm not going to go try to wildcraft it. I'm certainly not going to go to some southern state to try and wildcraft it. So
you just order it. Sometimes you just order it. Yeah. But it's another one of those herbs to kind of keep an eye on. And I don't know I've never seen it bloom. I couldn't recall in my head what the plant looks like, but I know it's a part of a lot of our analgesic tincture blends at the clinic. So it works great.
Yeah.
Definitely one that I can understand why Jamie would use that with all the pain and suffering that she sees on the border. People escaping the torment that they have in Central America and trying to make a better life elsewhere. And then being turned back, that's even more. You just get there, you feel I'm getting there, and then someone says, I don't know.
I
don't think you're suffering enough.
Jeez.
Oh, poor people. We're not laughing at their pain. We're just like,
what can you do but laugh? I mean,
the situation is not acceptable, and it's embarrassing as a country that we're not helping more, frankly. But we'll get there. The one that I found interesting was she talked about how much elderberry syrup she was passing out. I did not expect that.
It makes sense. I mean, it's a boundary issue, and elderberry syrup is all about boundaries on so many levels. So it made 100% service or sense to me.
You have said that before. Oh. Okay. Well, in my mind, I tend to put things in little tiny boxes because I have a little tiny brain.
I don't know about that, but I mean, think about the science behind elderberry. What does it help your cells do?
Well, it takes the flu virus out.
It helps your cells strengthen their own cell walls. They strengthen their boundaries. And when their boundaries are strong, the flu viruses aren't as able to attack them and succeed, which gives the white blood cells more time to destroy them and get rid of them. Which are also, what do white blood cells do? They protect your boundaries.
Sure.
So even at a cellular level, elderberry is all about boundaries. And when you start looking back at traditional uses and all of that, it's associated with what? Gateway of the fairy realm, right? So it's like...
You should see Sue's face.
Brain exploding.
That was awesome. Just her whole expression just... Wow.
Keep going. Keep going.
So the elder tree is about the boundary between, the fairy worlds and our world, and you pass through that gateway if you want to go play with the fairies, which is dangerous and you can get stuck there, so you might not want to. But either way, elder is a protector of that boundary and won't allow those through who are not ready. So, it's a boundary plant. And so the fact that she's bringing it down to help heal people who are fleeing problems in their own countries, crossing many boundaries and borders and trying to cross into our country and are being hurt on the way. I mean, it makes sense that she would be sharing elderberry syrup with them.
Well, elderberry syrup is pretty yummy. I rarely have any trouble getting patient compliance when I offer that.
Right? It tastes delicious.
It sure does. And we have a recipe on our website if people are interested in that. So, and another one that she talked about that I've heard talked about as a boundary thing is hawthorn.
Yeah, it is. It's a heart healer, and it's also a boundary plant.
And of course, there's nothing but heartbreak when you're leaving your home under duress.
Yes.
So that makes total sense. Rose,
same thing.
I don't use that in my...
That's also a heart healer, and it helps. It works on like the emotional, spiritual, psychological level. Like rose petals are really good for folks who are struggling with anxiety and depression that's sort of intermixed, where they've got anxieties about what's happening, but this sorrow that they can't fully release, like grief. So rose petals help. I mean, the hips, of course, are also helpful, but I include the rose petals in mixes like that. Often folks who are struggling with digestive issues that are connected to anxiety and depression could use a little rose.
Isn't that kind of astringent?
The petals are less so. I mean, it is overall, yeah.
Okay.
Which is, helps tighten your boundaries.
Yeah. I've made rose honey.
That was really good.
Yeah, and there's a recipe for that too on the site, but I guess I wasn't necessarily thinking of it as anything but a fancy way to get vitamin C into my life by adding rose honey into my tea.
Yeah, but it was also, it's a heart healer.
Huh.
Yeah, it works on other levels. It's not like rose and hawthorn together are a really good heart healer. With helping to ease blood pressure, bring it down a little bit, and help the body, help the circulatory system relax, and at the same time they both help to heal the emotional wounding that might be there, or the emotional tensions that might be there.
I love that anything that's high in vitamin C is a precursor to collagen, which is the wound healing. So I guess on a more symbolic level, then that would also translate.
Yeah, and hawthorn has a lot of pectin, which is also good for healing.
You bet. Yeah, it's great for healing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Oh, and hawthorn is traditionally in Chinese medicine used as a gut healer or digestive system.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm betting in part it has to do with the healing of the pectin and all of that helps with the digestive system. But also you think about when your heart is upset and you're dealing with grief, how often do you feel like your digestion's really spot on, working great?
Oh, if I'm grieving, I don't eat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So when you're dealing with those kinds of emotions that are really hard on your heart, they also cause problems with your stomach and your digestion. They mess your appetite up. They'll prevent you from absorbing really well. People gain weight or lose weight excessively when they're dealing with emotional heartbreak and grief. So,
well, that was some good stuff. And then fire cider.
Yeah, that was awesome to hear her say she was bringing fire cider down.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about, just especially with the free fire cider trial coming up and all of that. There's part of me that's like, oh my God, that's all linked. We've got to get our government to realize fire cider is not a trademark. It's a healing modality. It's a tool,
Yeah, and it's something that I love that people are using it all the time. It's fabulous to have in the clinic. Nowadays, it's respiratory distress, and people have, their sinuses, people that live inside, people that live outside, whatever, their sinuses are just inflamed, and throwing fire cider at them is easy peasy.
Yeah, it can help really get things moving.
I mean, even when people are saying, well, I don't know about this herb thing, like, well, just put a drop of fire cider on your hand and then lick it off and tell me how does this feel for you? And they're like, oh, wow, that certainly has an effect. Yes, it does. Yeah. So you notice that you need a tissue for your nose. What do you think this is going to do for you? And they fill in the blanks.
Yeah, they sure do.
So nobody argues about the importance of garlic or anything that's in fire cider.
Well, except for apparently apple cider vinegar. People apparently have been starting to argue about this, whether it's good or not. Oh. Patrick shared an article with us earlier this month. Yeah. On the evils of the fears. What was it? It was from the Insider, I think.
It's called From the Insider. The title of the article is 4 Dangerous Things Drinking Apple Cider Vinegar Every Day Can Do to Your Body, and 2 Ways It Can Help.
Oh, 2 ways it can help.
I admit.
Janikai Jichotivisit. So there you go.
I admit that I found I found it irritating. I was irritated with this article.
Well, I think it comes down to, like everything else, moderation. I think what it was examining where people were thinking, like all people do, it's the panacea, it'll cure everything. Right. And then they take gobs of it, and then they have side effects from it that on a normal, moderate consumption basis, you'd never see.
Right.
I mean, this article is talking about people burning, basically, wrecking their teeth,
Right.
because the enamel's being stripped off because of the acids. So they're drinking a lot of it, a real lot of it, for this to happen, or esophageal issues, or stomach issues, and bone loss, because the acid, your body, it's always trying to be in balance, and it will pull wherever it can to put your body in balance. So if it has to pull from bone, it's going to pull from bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that frustrated me with it was it seemed like it was a lot of scare tactics and then absolutes. Like one of the quotes is, quote, "Never drink vinegar straight. It's a potent acid that can be dangerous if aspirated, may cause burns to the tender tissue of the mouth and esophagus, and can lead to tooth erosion," end quote. The quote came from Ellie Krager, apparently, who's a registered dietitian and Food Network personality. I don't know who Ellie is, and I don't know whether the quote was taken out of context or not, but the idea that you should never drink vinegar straight seemed ridiculous to me. I've done that many times.
Yep,
and I would also suggest to you that, water can also be dangerous if aspirated, as could whiskey.
Yes.
So does that mean I should never take whiskey not straight? I can't have it straight up anymore?
I'm sorry. It's over.
But whiskey doesn't have, it's not the acid part. That's what they're talking
but
about.
But aspirated means if you inhale it.
If you breathe in water, you're drowning. Yeah, so don't be doing that.
And if you breathe in whiskey, it's definitely going to be
You always go on these comparative things that are so extreme and almost like a straw man argument every time that you do that.
This is a extreme statement.
It is extreme. And to say you shouldn't take it straight, I mean, is she talking about a giant glass of it? Because just taking a spoonful straight is fabulous. And at the same time, apple cider vinegar or any of the vinegars, the balsamic or whatever, after you have a little chaser of that, you throw back some water.
Yeah.
You rinse it out. Sure, if you are just drinking a cup of apple cider vinegar, you're going to have some problems.
That could
so don't be doing that.
And that's what that's what she's saying, is that they're drinking large amounts straight over and over and over again.
Right.
Not a tablespoon, not diluted in water, not all these other things.
And she's absolutely. There are people that I have talked to that have sat down and said, the thing that you're doing is fabulous if you can tone it down like 40 to 60%.
Right.
I saw on the internet that this thing is supposed to heal me, but not the way you're doing it.
Right. Yes.
You really.
Yeah.
And apple cider vinegar is one of those things. I had a conversation with a visitor to the clinic, and they were just like, but my stomach hurts all the time. Well, sugar pie.
Yeah.
The reason is because you haven't had solid food in 4 days.
Yeah, that would not be good for you.
Yeah. You gotta use it in moderation. You gotta use it as part of the recipe for your good health.
Yeah.
And recipes have lots of ingredients.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So that was the thing that was irritating me about the article, the way it was written. I walked away feeling like, apple cider vinegar isn't safe. We shouldn't take it. And I think that's really not helpful because it's really untrue. Apple cider vinegar is actually quite helpful.
It's very helpful.
Well, it does help reduce and control blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing that it does. And it also can help regulate cholesterol levels, which is another great thing.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence that it really helps with weight loss other than tangentially by helping your stomach and digestive system be more acidic.
Well, it can help. Apple cider vinegar used properly can help improve your digestion. And some people who are struggling with excess weight are doing so or having the problem because they are malnourished, and their body's natural reaction to malnutrition is to pack on as much fat as possible because, oh my God, we don't know whether we're going to keep eating.
And when you say malnourished, you're talking about not having good enough food.
Yeah, they're not having their nutrition isn't great. And their nutrition may be
the quality.
Yeah, and their nutrition they might even be eating the best vegetables or whatever, but because their body isn't well balanced, it's not absorbing. And if it's not absorbing, then the first reaction is to start gaining weight for some people, not for everybody. but so it could help with weight loss by just improving your digestion.
As part of the plan.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
chug-a-lugging white vinegar is not the way to go.
No, chug-a-lugging any vinegar is not the way to go. And typically, when I've seen it used as a really as a digestive aid or as a part of good digestion on a daily basis, it's like 1 or 2 tablespoons, and it can be incorporated into things like your salad dressing, or added to your soup, or as a shrub.
Sure.
There's no reason why you should be drinking a cup of straight apple cider vinegar a day. That's excessive.
Yeah. That is a lot. That would be hardcore. But I'm glad that the article was offering some, instead of just saying there's people that are overdoing it and therefore we're going to overreact. Right. That's part of the thing that you were irritated about. Yeah. And I also found that irritating, but they did say, well, it can help with these things. Yeah. And they just kind of got on the very tippy edge of some of the good things.
Yeah, they skimmed
that it can do.
Yeah. There's a lot more that they didn't really dive into.
And people that are Herbal Nerd Society members have the opportunity in February 2019 to view our articles about apple cider vinegar as part of a health regime. So,
yeah, because apple cider vinegar is the herb of the month.
It's the herb of the month. That's right.
Yeah, it's an odd one, but we decided to choose that in light of the fire cider. And in
people are going to talk about it. We need to have education about it.
Yep.
That's our policy. That's our Jiminy Jam.
All right, then. I guess with that,
put an herb on it.
The statements made about herbs and products on this podcast have not been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. All information provided on this podcast or any affiliated websites is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional. You should not use the information on this podcast and its affiliated websites for a diagnosis or treatment of any health problem. Always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new vitamins, supplements, diet, or exercise program before taking any medication, or if you have or suspect you might have a health problem. Any testimonials, questions, or case studies are based on individual results and do not constitute a guarantee that you will achieve the same results.